The Biden administration announced last week it would cancel 3 upcoming offshore and oil gas leases, 2 in the Gulf of Mexico and 1 in Alaska. There is over a lack of industry interest in legal delays. While the administration announced it would restart a dramatically smaller area of onshore and gas leases in April, the offshore cancellations threw the future of the federal government's offshore and oil gas leasing in this year into doubt. What are your thoughts on this, everybody? Is President Biden doing all that it takes to send out the fourth stimulus check, or do you think he should do a better job with this? We have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. You want to continue watching this video to never miss out on this. Support for an additional 4th round of stimulus payments continues to grow. Democrats in the House and the Senate are trying to settle on how much the next payment should be worth. Another check worth up to $200 could be automatically deposited this week. Watch until the end of the video to find out if you're eligible for a 4th stimulus payment. And there are millions of people that are relying on President Biden to pass a 4th round of stimulus checks. There are dozens of congressional lawmakers that already voiced their support for future direct payments. Now, since Biden signed the American Rescue Plan into law, more than 156 million payments of $1,400 have already been delivered to help people struggling during this time. But 53 U.S. representatives and 21 senators believe that it's not enough and have pressed President Biden for recurring monthly payments until the end of the crisis. Representative Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota, and more than 50 other House members have officially sent the Biden administration a letter that urges to back a 4th round of payments, a 4th round of stimulus checks. The lawmakers wrote in the letter, one more check is not enough during this time. Families cannot afford to wait for 8 months between payments. To truly build back better, families need stability and certainty through ongoing relief. They cannot be at the mercy of congressional gridlock. A recurring stimulus check is a familiar proposal for Kamala Harris, who introduced a bill in the Senate that provided $2,000 a month for each adult and child in the United States until the crisis ended. Supporters of the monthly $2,000 stimulus check notes that financial hardship remains widespread across the United States. A new analysis from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities found that 1/3 of adults are struggling to pay their bills. Many of those who are hurting are low-wage workers whose service job was impacted by the crisis, such as those in restaurant and retail jobs. While the letter from lawmakers did not specify an amount for a recurring stimulus payment, Representative Omar tweeted that she would like to see payments of $2,000 per month until the global health crisis has ended. So far, the federal government's response efforts have included 2 direct stimulus payments to most low and middle income families, a $1,200 check for eligible adults, and $600 per person check. Lawmakers have made it clear that the recurring payments should be directed to those who need it the most and will spend it the quickest. So, do you agree with that, everybody? Tell me in the comments down below. I think it would be a smart idea. More relief bills need to be passed in Congress. Chuck Schumer has also confirmed that he's been having private conversations with 2 holdout Democratic senators on making big changes to the filibuster. Schumer even admitted that pushing through a rule change like this at least, would be an uphill climb, but a climb that needs to be made to help the American people. And changing the filibuster is actually an idea that is supported by several Senate Democrats that want to get President Biden's bill passed as quickly as possible. And there are Republicans and a few Democrats that are currently standing in the way of passing Biden's economic agenda. The Senate has a long-standing practice of allowing any one senator to object to proceedings, and what's generally referred to as a filibuster can pause action and even on votes. This is what is known as a filibuster, and as the country and Congress has grown more partisan, the filibuster has actually become a key practice used by both parties. Year by year, everybody, more and more senators threaten to wage filibusters to block legislation. Overcoming filibusters can take days, if not weeks. Even without a senator holding the floor, filibusters have forced senators into all-night and weekend votes to advance the bill. And that happened during the passage of the Affordable Care Act. So it would make a huge difference if the filibuster is actually removed from the Senate. But do you think it should be done? Tell me your thoughts on this, everybody. I want to see President Biden do a better job in helping out the American people with the 4th stimulus check. He definitely must do this. And if you guys agree with me, then comment down below. So I'm actually keeping an eye out on the House Representatives and the Senate and all members of Congress on what they say about the 4th stimulus bills. Thousands of small businesses have been hit hard by this crisis, and so Congress could definitely be looking into providing stimulus payments for small business owners. Lawmakers also need to send more financial aid to senior citizens and SSI, SSDI, and RRB beneficiaries. So there are many measures of the past day stimulus packages that are unfortunately not in effect right now. It is very possible that lawmakers will still reinstate these measures, And now this includes a monthly unemployment boost for Americans and also another round of stimulus payments. I definitely expect Congress to make at least a $1,400 stimulus check available to Americans in the country starting all this year. This is especially with unemployment claims rising very quickly over the past 2 weeks. Many people are blaming the surge of jobless claims on the ongoing crisis, and Congress will be forced to take action if claims continue to increase. CBS News has actually released a report that showed about 25% of Americans have actually struggled to pay their rent and their monthly expenses over the last couple of weeks. Now, many people are actually blaming the surge of jobless claims on the ongoing crisis, and Congress will actually be forced to take action if the claims continue to increase. So CBS News has released a report that showed about 25% of Americans have struggled to pay for their monthly expenses. Still, millions of Americans have been impacted by the pause in the expanded monthly child tax credit payments as well. It is really sad that Congress has not taken action for the American people yet, and they cannot leave us in the dust. A fourth check has to be sent out this year. But at least there are several lawmakers that are actually in favor of more relief in the form of new direct payments. There have been nearly 3 million people that have signed an official change.org petition, showing their support for further financial aid. The petition makes it clear that Congress needs to sign off on recurring $2,000 monthly payments, and I definitely agree. A $1,400 stimulus check would be great, but it's not enough. So I believe a payment of $2,000 should be sent out every month to all senior citizens and Social Security beneficiaries. It's actually reported that the third stimulus check of $1,400 did not last very long for many Americans. That's why it's important that the payments are made every month. A group of Democratic senators have publicly shown their support for recurring checks that will be tied to the current economic conditions of the United States. And I'm really glad that there are some lawmakers in Congress that do actually care for the American people. Americans have to be assured that they will be able to feed and house their loved ones, during these difficult times at least. With this ongoing crisis, families need to have a form of financial relief that they know they can rely on. But the big thing we should all be aware of is that lawmakers have not agreed yet on what the size of the next round of stimulus payments will be. The first stimulus check was worth around $1,200.
Hello, folks. Good morning. I'm going to be somewhat short today because shortly you're going to hear a helicopter landing outside the window here. I'm supposed to be in Colorado looking at the damage with the governor of that god-awful firestorm that rolled through, and then I'm heading off to do Harry Reid's funeral. So, but this morning, I want to talk about, I think it's a historic day for our economic recovery. Today's national unemployment rate fell below 4%.